Oh,
I know. I've done it again. I know. There we go. Whoops-a-daisy. Sorry about that, folks. I know. Oh dear, it's been a long day. Well, it hasn't been a long day.
He loves it. He loves it.
I know. It's been a short day. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to eventually the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service with myself and Drew here. Hello, Drew. How are you doing, Drew?
All right. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
It's been an all right week overall.
Yeah.
Early shift, so yeah, it does tend to it can get a bit dull later on in the week when you feel like you're permanently awake. But yeah, no, all right. All right. I think we've both gone through a bit of a renaissance last week where we're finding a bit of enthusiasm for modelling again, aren't we?
We have. We found our second wind. Not that second wind, but I will be having a call very later on.
I've tended to find that in sort of recent, well, since lockdown, really, my tendency is to come home from work at 2 p.m. and then sit down in front of the television for a few hours, just not really doing anything and just, mouldering. And whereas, back in the day when I was a young man, I would get home, I couldn't wait to get home from work and get straight to the hobby room. And of the last few weeks, I've been getting straight home from work and going straight to the hobby room.
I was going to say that is this your pre-Telford excitement? But you're not doing Telford.
I'm not doing Telford. No. It's just I don't know, John. It's just it feels I'm feeling a little bit sort of reinvigorated, shall we say? And I want to get back to. And the thing is, nothing I watch downstairs on the TV is some stuff I can't have on in the background here. I have a screen that I'm, I know it always looks like I'm not looking at the camera. That's because I'm looking at the screen and the camera's over here. But trust me, I am looking. But yeah, so I can come up here and I can put podcasts on or whatever and have that in the background and sort of hack bits of plastic. And yeah, it just feels a little bit reinvigorated sort of thing. So yeah, it's been good. And you're the same, aren't you?
I'm rather oddly, yes. I've been kind of like eating away at projects here, and I had a meeting with Mr. Farmer Sunday morning. Mr. Farmer, literally, I'm not joking. Sunday morning, Mr. Farmer called. It was straight out of a Genesis song. He didn't offer me a job in a fire escape trade, but he did take me to the local tip to get rid of 10 bags of garden rubbish. But we were talking about Telford, and yeah, I'm going to be doing some modelling demos at Telford on the Hobby Company stand. But he did give me a couple of kits and said, "Do you fancy banging these out because we need them for display?" So one of them, which I'm working on at the moment, is the Italeri 35th scale Humvee. Nothing remarkable about the kit at all, really. It stems from 1987, but because I'm building something that isn't in my sphere of interest, I'm having a whale of a time.
Yeah,
I'm
because
really
you're just
enjoying it.
Just building. You're just building. You're sticking bits of plastic together and seeing that it all fits right. You're not actually. I gotta say, I've got to interrupt here. Ferrata01 says, "Evening, everyone from Sternhouse Muir." Now, if that doesn't take you back to the football results on a dark winter in the 1970s, I don't know what will.
Yeah,
it's one of those names that you go, football results, 1970s.
James Alexander Gordon on Radio 2, Stenhouse Muir 1.
Yeah,
Falkirk 1. Exactly.
Brilliant! That's made my evening. That has.
There you go. There you go. Ferrato01. If you'd like to send Drew a postcard with Stenhouse Muir on it, that would be splendid. I think you'd really enjoy that. No,
it was literally one of those woo woo.
Yeah, I know. It's no, I'm just having a blast, and like I say, we go back 4 years ago. Goodness me, 4 years ago to that Italeri X. I can't think who it was. Was it Poacher or Pocker or whatever they're called? But it was that 1 night scale Vespa. And I was asked, "Do you want to build it? Can you build this?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Well, I can build it, but do I want to build it?" But in the end, I thought, no, I'll just do it. I'll just build it. That is, in the last couple of decades, that's the one modelling project I look back on and I just go, I really, really enjoyed that. I had a bit of a time. So anyway, we are almost back to the old format tonight, folks. So we've got some news items.
A plan.
I know, actually, almost a plan. I will say beforehand that we've tried to source and credit the photographers for these images. So apologies if these are your images that we found on Facebook. If you contact us, we will plug you and say who it was. But one of the big news stories this week was Hobby Boss are doing a 1/48 scale B24J Liberator. Now, they did do a 32nd scale kit a couple of years ago, which I think it's fair to say, Drew, got some lukewarm reviews, didn't it?
Yes, I think there were an absolute host of issues with it, from wing cross section, right? Basically, nose to tail. There were issues, and tip to tip. And I think the overall sort of impression I'm getting from people who know what they're talking about this is it's better. I think people are still managing to find. I say managing. That sounds very negative. They're still finding stuff to. That is wrong, if you like, but the overwhelming thing seems to be that the wing cross section and location incidents and stuff is actually much better than it was on the 32nd one. I like this. This is a subject that I really, really love. It's odd that an aircraft that was produced in greater numbers than the Flying Fortress has always been the sort of ugly stepchild, hasn't it?
Yep.
And it was produced in greater numbers and used more widely than the V-17, but I think it's one of those types that just got on with the job. I think probably the wartime films that were made and stuff, the Memphis Belle,
12 o'clock high, stuff like that.
It all featured the B-17, so it became very much it became the bomber, if you like. I kind of get it, but I always feel like the B-24 got a bit of a rough deal from it. And certainly if you read the books and things on the Plesty raids and stuff, you realise just how these aircraft went through it in no uncertain terms.
The thing I like about B-24s is 100 group.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean. It was so massively widely used, So yeah, I mean, hopefully Hobby Boss have made a lot of corrections this time round that sort of escaped the 32nd one. Because I'd actually be more interested in this. I probably still wouldn't build it. I mean, 72nd is my scale for that kind of subject. But I'm hoping it's good enough for the 48th scale enthusiasts out there.
Now, talking of 48th scale, I know this is right up your Strasser rather, because this is goodness me, I've forgotten the name of the company now. Help me out, Drew. I've got holes in my head. Come on.
No, that's old. That's old hat. You can't get away with that anymore. And I can't
Magic
remember.
Factory.
Magic Factory. That's it.
Yeah,
Magic Factory.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a second round of releases after the Corsairs. That again, they haven't even been released yet, so we're still waiting. We're still waiting for that. Again, Skyhawks, love Skyhawks. The Hasegawa kit is 20 years old, but really still a very, very nice model indeed. Speaking personally, for me, it's difficult to see what this is going to bring to the table that the Hasegawa doesn't for me. It doesn't, apart from it's got a lot of open panels and things like that, which is quite impressive for a 48 scale kit. But for me, it's fit. If this was Tamiya, I wouldn't have any doubts. But it isn't Tamiya, so my first question is, how are all of those panels going to fit if you want to do it all closed up, which is how I would like to do it. So yeah, it's obviously we've immediately had a slatwell gate because they've done the same as Hasegawa, and there's actually a defined well for the slat to fit into. And I've seen arguments backwards and forwards about this, and I'm quite happy to say yes, it's wrong, and if it was left to me, I would not have that slat well there. But engineering wise, it's so that a slat can actually be made of a reasonable thickness, so it doesn't break down over time in tooling. And it will still fit in a flush position. Should you wish to do it with the slats closed for maybe an in-flight model or a Blue Angels aircraft where they were wired shut, something like that. So I understand exactly why they did it. I don't think it's a big deal. But if they'd asked me, there's no reason why they should, obviously, but if they had, I would have said no slat well, have it as the original. So I don't think that's the biggest issue with this kit. I think the biggest issue is the amount of panels and stuff that are open and how they're going to fit. So time will tell. Hopefully it will be the first of a family of Skyhawks. So we'll wait and see. Skyhawks are it's a great aeroplane, very, very widely used. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that.
As you said, it's been 20 years since Hasegawa did their family in 48 scale, and this is part of the problem, is that some of these things that we look back on and we think, oh, that's fairly recent. I'm thinking back to the Edward P-39 Aerocoba that I bought at Telford. Goodness me, that's 23 years ago.
Yeah, do you know what? And it sort of blows my mind, because I still think of that as maybe being 12, 13 years ago. Yeah. And it's not. It's over 20 years ago. It's just it's age, John. Age just makes things go so much faster, doesn't it?
We are turning into the kind of people we used to despise, aren't we?
I mean, it's kind of like this thing where I constantly think of bands, and when I got into that band, I was kind of seen as a Johnny New Boy, because the band had only been around for like 4 or 5 years when I got into them, and then Metallica. I got into Metallica in 1986. They'd only been around for 4 years. Now that band has been around for 40 years. And I'm like one of the old
I'm
guys.
I'm the same with Foo Fighters. I got into Foo Fighters fairly early on, when they were still, kind of like an up and coming, slightly unknown band. And now, now I look back on an album like One by One, and I think to myself, goodness me, that was 21 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Let's go back to the mod. This is why people tune in, because they like to see two middle-aged men having kind of like midlife crises live on the internet. Anyway, let's move on to again a subject that has not really been done in this scale before. I know Academy had a go at it about 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. But yeah, great war hobby.
Minicraft, wasn't it? Minicraft.
That was it. Minicraft. Yeah.
Minicraft. Thing with the Minicraft kit is I'm led to believe that they were. It's a nice model, but it's just Minicraft for 20 years. That availability was just appalling. You know, you simply couldn't get them in the UK. It's like I see that Academy are re-releasing the Mariner kit, the 72nd scale Mariner. But that to me just means it's going to be available. I'll be able to get hold of it. You know, so yeah, I mean, it seems like such a no-brainer to do a 144 scale Hercules, because it's a really nice scale for an aircraft of that size. And yet, nobody ever really, you know, it hasn't been that well. I mean, for many years, there was the only one really was the Revell kit, and that was like 128 scale or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, it's I like these are GWH stroke because they sort of do a lot of these with Lion Roar Pit Road, don't they? They sort of, there's a lot of cross fertilization between them. So I suspect this will be in another boxing in Japan. But yeah, I think it's a great scale, and I look forward to seeing it. It's you know, I've got their Vulcan, I've got their Victor in 144 scale. They're lovely, lovely models.
Now joined by a Valiant.
Now joined by a Valiant, which is why I neatly segued in.
All right, okay.
See, I'm good at this.
You're very good at this, yeah. It's almost as if I've known you for 20 odd years.
Back to Hercules, hopefully, again, it's the start of a series. Because, you know, there's a few that I would like to build in 144 scale. And like you say, they've also announced the 144 scale Valiant this week, haven't they? So, which kind of neatly rounds off the V-bomber triumvirate. And I think, am I right in saying, I think Micromere have done 144 scale Victor Mark 1s.
I think they've done
B1s and K1s. And am I right in thinking they're doing Vulcan B1s as well? So at some point you're going to be able to do the entire, you know, the entire V-bomber.
You know what? You are right. You are right. Let me just share screen, as opposed to scrolls down, which will be our first T-shirt that we do. Let's just do present, share screen. There we go. Micromere. There we go. 144 scale Handley Page Victor B Mark 1 or B1 rather. Yeah. So, yep.
Although that's a K1 on the box. Interesting.
Details.
But yeah, so you know, we're getting to that stage where we can do the entire V-bomber range in 144 scale, which is, you know, a good. In fact, there are several options for Vulcans now, aren't they? Because I think Trumpeter did a 144 scale Vulcan as well. So yeah, it suddenly became very popular.
Now, talking 144 scale, you just mentioned this company. This is Pit Road. They are doing the gorgeous, Mitsubishi P1.
Yes, I mean this was
a Mitsubishi or Kawasaki.
Kawasaki, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, sorry. Kawasaki.
Yeah,
P1.
I mean this was announced sort of back in 2022, but it all went a bit quiet until the hobby show this week in Tokyo, where it suddenly appeared again as being actively worked on. So yeah, I mean it's a beautiful aeroplane, isn't it? It's an absolute aerodynamic Venus. It's you know, is it better than the P8? No, nobody really knows. I think they're all pretty much of a muchness in terms of capability. I just prefer the P1 as an aeroplane, and you know, I'm continually saddened that we didn't buy them. But there you go. But yes, that's it.
Yeah, carry on.
Go on. No,
you carry on.
No, I was just going to say it's a fabulous looking aeroplane. I just wish it was. I wish the Japanese defense industry was more hard sell. Because I think some companies, you know, some I think they do well with products like that. So
I've
yeah,
got to say, it has policy decision. Get me teeth in. Policy decision. This, and one of the things that I'm going to have to do, hopefully next year, is I've got to build something modern, some modern Japanese jet. I've just got to do it. I even if it's, I just like those grey schemes that a lot of their modern jets have. So.
yes, yeah.
Oh, well, that's lovely. That is right. Now, we've just talked about an aeroplane that you could easily describe as being an aerodynamic Venus. Now one which is you couldn't. It's the dumpy plumpy Lockheed F-35B Lightning. Now, this should come as no surprise that Tamiya are doing an F-35B in 48th scale, and yeah, this is the one that is going to be of slightly more interest to a lot of other modelers. He said, sticking his neck out, because these are flown by. Well, there we have a Spanish one,
Italian.
which Italian. Sorry, Italian one. Then we have this rather nice US Marine Corps one. I do like the retro meatball roundel in the air brake there, which is rather nice. Oh, that's another
the Italian one again.
Another Italian one. But they are doing British decals with this boxing. And oops, Daisy, let's get that photograph there. Oh, there's an Italian one as well. So what can we say about the Tamiya F-35 that hasn't already been said?
Do you know what? It's one of those conversations where you think there's an awful lot to say, and there isn't. It literally closes the book on the 48 scale F-35B, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For the immediate future, you know, it's game over. If there's no, I could not find a reason not to go the extra 20 quid or whatever and choose that to build over any of the other ones that are available. You know, it's just going to be, like I say, I'm struggling for words. It's going to close the door on it. It's just why, you know, don't bother anybody else. Tamiya have been there and done it. And, you know, the thing is, I like the idea of doing an F-35B pretty much closed up. You know, none of the bits, none of the doors open or anything like that. And you know, you can be reasonably assured that everything is just going to fit. You know, once all those panels once all those doors and stuff are dropped in place and lightly glued, they're pretty much guaranteed, because it's Tamiya, to look like panel lines. So yeah, you know, it's obviously it's going to be of more interest to perhaps, you know, UK modelers, certainly. I mean, Italy uses the F-35A and the F-35B, so you know, you know, obviously there's significant interest there. Yeah, I mean, I've got no doubt it's going to be an absolutely a fabulous model. Steve Moores, would you bin a 148 Titillary F-35 for a Tamiya one? I built the Italian one and I really enjoyed it. It's a nice model, but I've got no doubt that this is just going to eclipse it in every significant way.
Yeah,
you know, just in terms of a model to build.
Yeah,
it's just going to be significantly more fun. I didn't even attempt to close up the Italian one because, as Craig there says, the F-35A doesn't. Oh right, I think he's talking about the Tamiya one now. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even attempt to close up the Italian one because I just knew it would be a chore. Because what you need it to be very, very clean, so all the ram tapes and stuff are not sort of damaged.
Yeah,
when you do it. So yeah, I've yeah, I look forward to getting one of these and building it. I mean, people have. I've sort of, for me, the fact that Tamiya have done this, they've included an RAF variant and haven't included RAF specific stores, is more of an issue for me than the Slapwells and that Skyhawk.
Mm-hmm.
And people have said yes, but aftermarket will oblige, blah. But this is stuff that should be in there. As far as I'm concerned, should be in the kit. If you're including the option, you need to include the ability to do the option. And sticking 20 quid on top of the price just to buy some ASRAMs and a couple of Payway 4s kind of irritates me a little bit. It's not a huge issue, but
yeah,
I kind of, sometimes it befuddles me that people will make a huge issue of one thing and kind of skip over with something else by going, oh yeah, but the aftermarket will deal with that. Well, yeah, that's like saying it's only 20 minutes to fill in those Slapwells on the Skyhawk. What are you moaning about?
If only you had a 3D printer, Drew.
Yeah, but you see, John, there's more or less the same argument, just versed in another way, isn't it? You're right.
I'm just being a contrarian here now.
You're right. It's not, and would it stop me? Would it make me give it a poorer review? No, of course not, because it's not a massive issue, but it is one that kind of sticks out to me. As I guess it's different people pick different battles, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say
that
was a non-issue.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that if you've been on our page, you'll see that we put a link up to Gustav Jung's page, and he's got more photographs. I did try messaging him to see if we could use his pictures tonight. I couldn't get a reply. So if you head over to our page, then you can link through to Gustav's page. There are lots and lots of absolutely gorgeous photographs there. So yeah, head over there. Like I say, you can link from our page and then just click on the link and go and have a look at his pictures. So they're absolutely fabulous. Really looks absolutely top dollar. Right, we're just gonna do the usual rundown of say hello to everybody. Oh, goodness me, it's getting longer and longer, Drew. That's what they all say. So I'm going to say
that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing.
It's a very good thing, actually. Say hello to Russell Taylor. He says hello from Connecticut, where it's actually stopped raining. Good evening, Phil, Darren McGuinness, Russell Taylor, well done him. Alan Richardson, Nick Brown, Andy King, Kev Tinker, Dave Swindle, Stephen Pryor, Dave Fleming. Dave, looking forward to seeing you at Telford. Simon James Colley, Dougal McWoogle. Dougal, I'm looking forward to seeing you at Telford. Jeff Baker, Mike Williams, Mike likewise. Lee Suter, Rory Manton, you might know him, Drew. Peter Oxley, David Ross, Captain Magenta, Greg Woodbridge, Ian Goldstraw, Sean Smith, Stan C, Marcus Stone, Phil Artiste Studio, David Griffith, Theron Hampton, Paul Milligan, Shane Weir, good day, Shane. Jared Watkinson, good evening, Jared. I call him neighbour Jared. He's not actually my neighbour, but relatively speaking, he's just over the hill from me. Ferrato 01 rather, Steve Moores, hello Steve. My Planes Don't Fly, Wayne Beatty, Jerry Doyle, Go For It Painting, Ian Rusco, John and Lynn, good evening, John and Lynn, Locks 9, I'm running out of breath here. Rob Monfee, hello Rob, Herman Hambrush, Crazy Loca, dum. If I've missed anybody, I do apologise. It's going to what we could end up doing is just doing a complete roll call of the thing, and then I go, any other business? Thank you, everybody. Good night. So we do thank you for joining the show. Watching two middle-aged men wax lyrical about their favourite hobby. Right, Drew, 30 years later, okay, 30 years later, Tamiya decide that they'll follow up their lovely little Grumman Wildcat with another one.
30 years, I think they could have researched Dark Slate Grey a bit better.
Yeah, well, there we go. But
I mean, it's you know.
You can't second guess Tamiya, can you?
Kit. No, you can't. It's a 30. You know, it's a modification of a 30-year-old kit. I remember getting the kit when it was released. You know, when you actually had to phone shops up and quote a credit card number at them and things like that.
Yep.
And it's a great model.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's even one of those where you say it's a great model considering it's 30 years old. It's just a great model.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And you know, this is 30 years later. They decide to do the is it the right engine variant?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Wildcat Mark V.
Yeah, so so that
Mark
presumably means new fuselage halves and engine and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be, you know, it's got some very, very strong competition in the form of the absolutely exquisite Edward kits that have been released in the last year or so, which is just Dave. Dave, I never remember which way round it is, right engine and B&W. I'm never quite sure which variant is. Wildcats to me are they're a minefield. I can navigate my way through F-16 blocks and engines, no problem. Wildcats are a constant mystery. So I'll take your I'll take your word for it. No, still has. There you go. See, immediately we're into no. Still has a twin wasp. The F1 had 4 guns instead of 6. That's it. So, all right, okay. There you go. Exactly. You know, I don't know anything about Wildcats. All I know is that the FM2 had a tall tail, and that's my favourite Wildcat. Tall tail and 4 guns. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's. I don't really understand Tamiya's logic for doing it 30 years later, but it's Tamiya. There's no, you know, there is no logic, is there?
It's okay. Couple of things. First of all, the Wildcat is one of my favourite subjects. The Wildcat / Martlet is one of my favourite subjects, and this goes back to, this is where we need to have the wibbly wobbly effect. This goes back to the first model show I ever went to, Wokingham Town Hall, back in the early 1970s. I went with my mum because I was only 5 at the time, for goodness sake. And hello, mum, by the way. I know she's watching. Well, she better be. Otherwise I'll have words with her. Yeah, I know. I'll have words with her afterwards. No, hello, mum. And yeah, so we went to the model show at Wokingham Town Hall, and one of the things that IPMS UK were giving away at the time was a special free magazine. Unfortunately, because I'm wired up here, I can't go and get it, but perhaps I'll show it on next week's show. But it was like an international special, so there are all kinds of articles from IPMS associations around the world, and there was an article in it on Fleet Air Arm Wildcats / Martlets, and it's stuck with me ever since, and I've still got that magazine. It's a little bit worse for wear, but it just goes to show that at the right, you know, at an early age, that you can walk into a situation and it sticks, you know,
Yeah, for life. It remains with you for life, doesn't it?
Yeah, precisely. So I am very, very interested in this release because I do like Fleet Air Arm Martlets. Those of you of older memories, again going back 30 years, may well remember that the first modelling article to appear in a fledgling new model magazine called Scale Aviation Modeler was written by moi. So there we go. I love Wildcats, and with a little bit of luck, I might actually be building one of these at Telford. It all depends whether the hobby company can get samples in time, but we're hoping that they can. But yeah, I am really, really, really looking forward to building one of these because I love Wildcats. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Also, we will eventually emerge from the Tamiya Love Fest tonight, but also coming from Tamiya very soon is a 48th scale Austin K2 ambulance, a KT. Now we've had a run on them in the last year or so with 35th scale kits from Airfix and from Gecko. And this isn't the first 48 scale Austin KT, because Bandai did one back in the oldie days. And obviously we've all got memories of the classic 72nd scale HO00 Airfix one from the RAF emergency set. But there we go, Drew. I get the feeling that is something that's going to interest you greatly.
Yeah, I've had no interest in the 35th scale ones, but that looks like it might be a nice little fun sort of less than a week build, if you like. That's one that, much like your Humvee kit, I can just open the box and start sticking bits together and have a right old laugh with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for that. I want that. Just as a fun build. These Tamiya 48 scale kits are such good fun to make. They're really, you know, they're just so well engineered, simple, very well detailed, without being overboard. There's loads of scope if you want to go mad with detailing them. But even if you don't, what you end up with is something like this, which is a really pretty little model that'll build in a very few days. Love it, absolutely love it. Yeah, I want one.
Yep, I'm sure that can be arranged now, using the magic of pressing buttons here. Meanwhile, I've actually got round to putting these stickers on my Airfix 35th scale Austin KT.
Go full screen for it, John. Go full screen.
Right?
Go full screen.
Oh, I'll go full screen. All right, okay. Oh God, I'm wrong with them. There we go. So I've put the decals on my 35th scale Airfix Austin KT. Out of interest, everybody, to paint the vents on the roof, I used Tamiya LP7, one of their lacquer paints. It's their pure red, which turns out it's actually a bang-on spot match for the Academy printed decals. So anyway, there we go. We've got all the decals on now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that pretty much vent for a day or so. Then I should give it a coat of VMS matte varnish, which is absolutely gorgeous stuff. So there we go. I've got to stop kind of like pootling around with this kit. I've just got to get it finished.
You got to pull your finger out and get on with it, haven't you? I've
got to pull my finger out and get on with it, especially as I've now started this Humvee. But I've had that much fun with it. It's been great fun. It's been absolutely magical. And so there we go. So that's Tamiya doing a 48 scale Austin KT ambulance. Exciting times, aren't they, Drew? They truly are.
I mean, it's the golden age shows no signs of ending anytime soon, does it? This golden age has now been a golden epoch. It's really, you know, we are the luckiest we've ever been.
Yep. We haven't finished with Tamiya yet. One thing that they are bringing out is they're bringing out some chipping fluid, and I know some people are going to be, well, why should I use this instead of using hairspray? Well, you pay your money, you take your choice. And Tamiya obviously feel the need to enter into the market. So hopefully this will make its way onto the British market. There's always a bit of an issue with the labelling on some of the Tamiya liquid products because they have to be kind of like EU compliant. Although that does beg the question whether or not we have to be anymore because of our little departure a few years ago. But I'm looking forward to, hopefully this will come into the UK, and I'm looking forward to giving it a go because I do like a bit of chipping. I do like me chips.
I would say, I mean, in terms of stuff that was announced in terms of materials and stuff at that show this week in Japan, I have to say, finally, about 30 years late, Mr. Colour this week finally announced they're releasing Mr. Colour Mod Eagle paints. Finally. So that's that for those who don't know, is 36176 and 36251, which are the two Mod Eagle greys. They've never done them before. And now finally, I believe the Mr. Colour numbers will be C394 and 395.
Right. I'm just sorry, Drew. I'm just doing a bit of it's gone a bit Mystic Meg here. I'm getting some strong predictions here. I can see you building a Mod Eagle next year.
Well, possibly. Who can say? Who can possibly say? Although I have to say my current interest is in very early Eagles, A's and stuff in either blue or the early Compass Grey sticks.
So Eagles in blue. Ooh.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Right. Now, talking of lovely, this is going to be, I think this is actually our penultimate one for the night, actually. And this is a subject, honestly. MiniArt are doing a 48 scale P-47 Thunderbolt. And people are going to say, well, what's that going to bring to the mix that other kit companies haven't done? Well, I'm trying to... Bear with me a second, Drew. What's been the most recent 48 scale P-47 Thunderbolt? Was that the Hasegawa kit from the mid-90s?
What are we talking about? P-47Ds?
Well, either. Yeah. P-47.
I mean, but in terms of bubble tops, the most recent would be the Tamiya kits.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
So the Tamiya kits and the Academy were about the same time, but I think the Tamiya kits. So yeah, it's been a while.
The Academy kits were mid to late 1990s because I built
and the Tamiya kit was 1998, 99.
Okay, so we are looking at a couple of decades since somebody had a go at doing a new Thunderbolt in 48 scale.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, one that shall we say looks worth the effort. Shall we say?
Well. They're doing two flavors of this. They're doing a basic kit, and I gotta say, I'm so surprised. My voice has gone up an octave. I have seen the test renders of the basic kit, and I kept thinking to myself, but surely that's the advanced kit. No, this is the advanced kit, where you get all the open bays and other bits and pieces, dropped flaps. And now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Drew. Have any of the other 48 scale Thunderbolts ever done drop flaps?
Yeah, the Tamiya kit.
The Tamiya kit. Okay, I've never built.
I can't speak for the. I built the Academy P-47N, which is my favourite Thunderbolt variant.
No drop flaps in that. I built that and the Hasegawa kit pretty much the same time, the mid 1990s, and they're all buttoned up. So,
but yeah, I know the Tamiya kit does. So yeah, that's clearly going to have a lot of photo etch and bits in there. I mean, again, I come back to it looks fabulous, but how do the panels fit?
Yes, yeah.
You know, that's what it's all about for me. Because I like, generally speaking, I like my models, you know, closed up, if you like.
Yeah, buttoned up.
So but obviously if you want to do open panels, it's MiniArt, and MiniArt don't mess about with detail, do they?
No. Well,
they get stuck straight in.
They get stuck straight in. Talking of detail, I'm sure we'll get we will get a better photograph coming up in a second there. As you may notice, that they seem to have gone to town with the rivets and everything on this model, which some people are going to complain and they're going to say they should be raised, they shouldn't be raised, they shouldn't be there at all. Do you know what, folks? There are plenty of other P-47 kits out there that if you don't like this one, you can just build another one. For my part, looking at these renders, I like the look of the Academy kit. I just think the rivets...
The Academy kit?
Sorry?
You said you like the look of the Academy kit?
Oh, sorry. Oh, God, come on. The look of the MiniArt kit, because it just looks busy, and that's what I like about it. And yep, it
looks fantastic, doesn't it? But I mean, see that there for me with it all buttoned up is just, yeah, that's
yep.
You know, we like Thunderbolts, but yeah, all the images that they're showing, whilst it's all renders at the moment,
yeah.
You know, they have a reputation for extremely high levels of detail and lovely models. So
yep.
I have got no doubt. They've only previously done? Is it a Triebflugel or something? Is the only aircraft they've done, isn't it?
They've done a Triebflugel and they've done a Sierra auto gyro.
Oh yes, yeah, of course they have. Yeah. So yeah, it's look at that. That's just hugely impressive, isn't it? Yeah, I look forward to this. I like Thunderbolts, and I cannot lie.
Well, this again, this is going back to my formative years. One of the first model magazines I ever got was a copy of Scale Models. I'm trying to remember. It was 1975, something or other, and I've still got it. There's a surprise. And there was a review in there of what were then the new Hasegawa P-47 Razorback, the Matchbox Razorback, and the Frog Bubble Top. That tells you how long ago it was. And it was the review was titled 3 Jugs Full, which I thought was rather amusing. Again, it's one of those things that just stuck with me. It just made me a fan of the Thunderbolt there and then. And
I might be thinking, I'm sure, I mean, it's 3 decades or more since I last built the Hasegawa Thunderbolt, but I think I'm right in saying it was one of Hasegawa's first ventures into recessed panel detail.
Oh,
I think
the 72nd scale one, yes, yes.
It was, you know, for many years. It was. I bought them both. I bought the bubble top and the Razorback at the same time years ago, and built them both, and thought they were both fantastic models.
They are beautiful. They are beautiful models. They're not very good replicas, because the Razorback suffers from that bane of so many Razorback Thunderbolts, is that they've tapered the canopy. When you look at the sliding portion of a Razorback, the canopy frames, you know, the sills are actually parallel, so they don't actually taper. So it's, but I'm trying to think which one I built. I think I built the Razorback, and yeah, for a kit from the mid 1970s. It is massively ahead of its time when it comes to surface detail. It is utterly beautiful. And yeah, as we just kind of like, I mean, look at that. It just looks utterly fabulous, doesn't it? And then they also give you a choice of not only wheel hubs, but tires as well.
Couple of options there, isn't there?
There's a few options there. And then they give you the paper tanks. I can't see from the angles whether they give you the short or the long paper tanks, but you get the paper tanks, you get that weird kind of belly tank, you get the standard drop tanks, the big P-38 Lightning tanks, and then bombs ahoy, 250, 500 and 1,000 pounders.
And chemical dispensers.
That's what I was trying to work out what they were today.
It's just insane, isn't it?
It looks an absolute winner. Now, like I say, bear in mind this is the how do they describe it, as the advanced kit, but they are doing a kind of like a basic kit as well. But I will be all over that basic kit as and when it comes out, because I do love a Thunderbolt.
Dave Fleming there saying, do the P-47 Razorback canopies flex like the Hurricane? No, Dave, I don't think they do, because they're not parallel, and because they are parallel rather than tapered, and they slide back over an area that is tapered. I think that's probably the reason they weren't tapered, is that it'll just slide straight back over without flexing. But yeah, I mean, that is just an insane collection of parts, isn't it? It's yeah, I look forward to that. I did get that in the mail this week, which was finally released. So talking of Thunderbolts,
oh, can you put that on your? There we go. There we go.
So yeah, there you go.
Lovely.
Trying to work out. So yeah, that was the Dora Wings P-47B, which obviously is an early Thunderbolt with things like the short fuselage. So a few nice options there, including a Brazilian aircraft, which is nice. The oddest thing is, for all the detail they include,
one-piece canopy.
One-piece canopy, which is really, really strange. But you will be glad to know. But you'll be glad to know it's parallel.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, it's it's P-47B, so it's a short fuselage with no big keel, which the later ones had for, I think it was it fuel tank piping was the reason for that.
I think it was.
That keel. But this is absolutely beautifully done, very, very finely restrained surface detail. No rivets, which is sort of does that bother you? Well, you can add
Not
them,
really.
but I think that's a beautifully restrained surface detail. No separate flaps, which is against what we've just been talking about. The flaps are molded in the up position, which I guess you can either correct or not as you see fit. Yeah, it's a very nice, and I think it's only about £30 as well, so it's not it's not an expensive model by today's standards for considering what you get in the box. So yeah, there's all that, and there's this strange little keel there, which is I'd have to check what that's for, but we'll have a look. But yeah, it's a simple little model in many ways, but very, very nicely done. And there are, the major box art option is for one of Hubert Zemke's early aircraft before he went on to be an ace, which is really nice because it's got medium green patches on the olive drab, which is not something that happens very commonly on Thunderbolts. Then you've got the very plain early war United States Army Air Corps were very plain, weren't they?
Oh, I like that one with the meatballs.
And there's one with the meatballs there, which kind of lifts the plainness a little bit, and the large marking on the fuselage side.
Dave Fleming makes the comment, nicely fills the gap between the P-43 and the P-47D. Now, I've got the P-43, so...
Yeah, I've got one of the P-43s as well. And then you got this really rather fetching Brazilian aircraft.
I think that's the one you're going to be building, isn't it?
I kind of like Hubert Zemke's only for the medium green patches on the airframe.
Okay.
But we'll see. Yeah, it's like I say, it's that they've got a P-47C coming, so the D's out with the unique canopy and the short fuselage and stuff. There's a P-47C coming, and then add on to the D's that we've got, and you basically your Thunderbolt story's covered in 48 scale this year, isn't it?
Yep. No,
we could do with another N, but I like the N. The N's my favourite. People often forget just how massive the N was. Its takeoff weight was nearly 22,000 pounds, which is like 3 times a Spitfire. It's gigantic aeroplane. You know, used for going very, very long distances over the Pacific. You know, the Thunderbolt was a big aeroplane anyway.
Yeah.
But, you know, the P-47N, which is designed for long range attack and stuff, was just, you know, that's kind of the same weight as almost as a Mitchell sort of thing. It's just a massive, massive aeroplane.
It will come as no surprise to you, Drew, that that as and when I do my MiniArt P-47 Thunderbolt, I'll be doing it as Southeast Asia Command.
Yeah.
Because I do like my SEACs, and this is wibbly wobbly going back 33 years now. I was the summer of 1990.
They're the best years of your life.
Sorry?
They're the best days of your life.
Do you know what? They were. Shall I tell you why? Because Channel 4, back in the summer of 1990, on Friday nights, they used to have their creature feature season, which is where I fell in love. Yeah. Exactly. I fell in love with the Japanese kaiju eager phenomena, which I absolutely adore. That's where I became a massive fan of those Toho films. Anyway, but I went to Southern Expo and I picked up. It was the Monogram P-47D bubble top, but it was the high-tech release, so it came with some photo etch bits and pieces in there. And when I say some photo etch, it literally just like 2 bits and pieces. Anyway, I built it, and I remember I rescribed the whole thing from top to bottom, and I painted it up as a dark green, dark earth, medium sea grey SEAC aircraft. It will come as no surprise that model is still on my shelves.
Yeah, it's still on your shelf, isn't it? Yeah.
It's one of my favourite models of all time. And I'd like to be buried with that model, if you don't mind. So
that was Hornchurch, wasn't it?
It was Hornchurch. You're right. Yeah.
Went to a few of those. Yeah, we used to get I think we used to get the train up, if I remember rightly, and get on the underground, and went to 3 or 4 of those.
Overground, underground, wombling free. You were, weren't
you?
Yeah,
indeed.
Right. The gratuitous plug time now. And Mr. Pollard has a new book coming out, which is his Monogram Classics Volume 2. And on this one, he's covering the Monogram F-104 Starfighter, the F-105 Thunder Chief, and the F-106 Delta Dart. And he's already done a previous book which covers the Voodoo, the Delta Dagger, and I think there was something else. No, I think it was just the Voodoo and the Delta Dagger. And the Super Saber as well. So as always with something that Spencer turns his attention to, the design of this one. I know it sounds like we're blowing smoke up a good friend's posterior, but the design work on this, Drew, is absolutely sumptuous.
It's how it should be in this day and age, isn't it? It's just it's beautifully clear. It's so well laid out. It's just, you know, an absolutely beautiful production.
Yeah. You know? Also, what I like, and I wouldn't have thought this would have worked, he's done all the photo captions in red.
Yes, yeah.
And it works. It absolutely works. So, yes, folks, if you head over to Spencer Pollard's kit box, this will be going on sale. I know he's still working on it, but it will be going on sale as soon as he gets it finished. But if you want to support somebody who really does put their soul into the work that they do, go for, this is absolutely gorgeous. So big thumbs up here, I'd say, wouldn't you, Drew?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's always good to see what Spence does sort of presented in this fashion. And they make just beautiful additions to a collection, don't they?
Absolutely. Talking of which, hopefully Mr. Pollard, fingers crossed, will be joining moi for the model demos at Telford. So
Okay.
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. There's nothing concrete at the moment, but we did discuss the possibility of it. So yeah, but see, you're not there, Drew. This is the thing. I got to fit in with somebody else. Honestly, I'm not saying this just to embarrass you, but you will be greatly missed at Telford. You really will be.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like
Who's
I
going
say,
to buy me breakfast on Friday? Let's put it that way.
You can't force something you're not feeling. Although I appreciate the I appreciate the sentiment.
I'm just trying to think. Have we met up since? No, we did meet up last year, didn't we? We went to Vietnam. Yeah, we did. Yeah, sorry. Yep. Right. Any other business?
No, not for me. No. Okay. We'll carry on. What?
I thought perhaps you might want to say something. I'm just giving you a chance, you know.
No, nothing to add at this point. It's been quite a busy week, actually, hasn't it? I kind of like that the fact that Tokyo had a model show this week had escaped me. This used to be the sort of thing where we would. They have two, don't they? They have one in May and one sort of around now. And it used to be we used to hang on. You know, there used to be a build up to these shows because we were waiting to see what Hasegawa would announce and all the rest of it. And for many years, because Hasegawa have more or less left our segment of the market now, save for reboxings and stuff, it kind of like stopped thinking about it. And this week, it appears to have been quite a busy little show in terms of Tamiya and Pit Road and Great Wall Hobby and people like that. So it's nice to see.
It's all the new kids on the block, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm
surprised that nobody's announced that fine molds weren't covered. Really, I haven't seen any coverage of them from this week because they've got the Eagles coming on the back of the Phantoms that I don't like. So we'll see if they.
Let it go, mate. Let it go. Captain Magenta, bum, 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 bum. He says, no mention of a hovercraft. No, we'll do that next week's show. So with a little bit of luck, I'll try and get one. We were talking about the Airfix SRN1 hovercraft, which was a surprise announcement during the week. So no, we'll try and get one for next Sunday. So I'm just gonna say, oh, actually, I can do it on this camera, can't I? No, I can't. It's too big. This was something I got from Mr. Farmer today, who said, could I build it for him, please? It's a company called Hobby Nunu model kit, and it's a 24th scale Audi Sport Quattro S1. Now, I don't build that many cars, but every time I have, I've always enjoyed myself because, again, bit like we were talking before the show about this this Humvee I'm building, this Italeri Humvee. It's not necessarily something that I would build ordinarily, but suddenly, because you are building something for the pure joy of building something, you really enjoy it, and it's
ignorance is bliss.
Oh, it's a mantra of my life, that is, mate. But yeah, so I'm going to be chucking that together, and we've managed to get on the Humvee. There we go. I've got most of the lower body work all done now, so I'm not messing around here, mate. I'm just going to crack on with it.
Getting it built, getting it done.
I'm just going to get it done.
Doing the back doors closed. We won't even paint the back.
Do you know what? I was just having a look at the. We'll go in a minute because I got a prep for my next show. Sunday Night Ghost Stories, everybody, in case you're wondering. But I was having a look at the instructions and whatever. And yes, there is an interior in there. But you know what? I'm just going to do the basics. I'm not even going to weather the interior. I'm just going to do the basics, and that's it. Most of my paint work will be doing a nice weathering job on the Desert Storm version, because I don't really want to spend a month masking and painting that scheme, if you don't mind. So so I really want to be able to bang that one out. Hopefully get it done by next Sunday's show, in theory.
Well, better get busy then, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. But I haven't got anything else to say. So excellent. Well, thank you to everybody who has joined us tonight. We really do appreciate your attendance, and thank you for not putting your feet up on the table. Do appreciate that. A big thank you to Drew for joining me this evening. I'm looking forward to seeing you at some stage, Drew.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually. Just so I can show you my scars. And sorry. And we'll be, fingers crossed, we'll be back next Sunday. I might just do a pop-up live during the week. See how things go. Until then, a big thank you to Drew. A big thank you to everybody who's joined us tonight. We will hopefully see you this time next week. So until then,
yeah.
Bye for now.
Take care, all.
Bye.